Hello, my name is Erin, and I am a K-5 elementary music teacher in Northern Indiana, and I'm also the teacher author behind From Do Re Mi to You. In this video, I wanted to talk about elemental rhythm, which is something that I learned in my Orff Level 1 class. It was probably one of my biggest takeaways. So if you've done your Orff levels before, you should hopefully know what elemental rhythms or rhythm building blocks are. And if you don't, I'm going to show you how helpful they can be in the elementary music classroom when it comes to composition and improvisation. So let's go. So the first question is, what are elemental rhythms or rhythmic building blocks? So this was a concept not designed by Carl Orff, but by his partner Gunhild Kateman, and she wrote about it in a book called Elementaria. I'll put up a picture of what the book looks like up here. Essentially, these are 2-beat rhythm patterns constructed from quarter notes, quarter rests, and paired eighth notes. So it doesn't matter what rhythm syllable system you use, but you would have ta ta, ta-di ta, ta-ta-di, ta-di ta-di, and ta rest. Untraditionally, you could also have a half note option as well. And also untraditionally, if you wanted to have your older students compose with more complex rhythms, rhythm is all fractions. And you can take these same rhythms and instead of having them be 2-beat rhythms, they can be 1-beat rhythms like ta, rest, that's upside down, there you go. We have ta-di, takadi, ta-dimi, and takadimi. They're the same rhythms, except we go from 2 beats down to 1 beat. So now that we know what elemental rhythms or rhythmic building blocks are, the question is, why do we use them in the music room? Essentially, as music teachers, we want to teach our students how to compose and how to improvise. But asking students to create rhythms without any structure or guidance beyond write 8 beats can really overwhelm students. And if you've done this activity before where you ask a student to compose an 8-beat rhythm and then perform it on rhythm sticks, you've probably noticed that the students who struggle the most with music literacy are the ones most likely to write rhythms that they can't perform because they lack repetition and natural syntax. So elemental rhythms are rhythmic building blocks can help break down rhythms into manageable chunks and encourage repetition and natural rhythm syntax. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Essentially, I give students forms to choose from: AABB, ABAB, AABA, ABBA, ABBA, and then there's a couple choices with a C, AABC or ABAC. So let's say I am going to choose ABAC. That means I need to choose 3 different rhythm building blocks. One for A, one for B, and one for C. So let's say, for example, I choose, actually no. I'm going to choose ta-ta for A. I'm going to choose ta-di-ta for B, and then ta-rest for C. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see what this would look like. All right, so this is how this would look like in real life. I've got my forms and I chose A, B, A, C. So I'm going to put down ta, ta for A. Put this over here. Now for B, it has to be a different rhythm. So I chose ta-di-ta. Now my next A has to be the same as this one. So there's my repetition. And then I'm going to end with C. And now I have something that's playable. There's syntax to it, there's repetition, and it goes like this: ta, ta, ta-di-ta, ta, ta, ta. Now, let's say I wanted to change the form. Maybe I want to do AABC. So now I'm going to flip-flop these two and see if I like it better. Ta, 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 ta-di-ta, ta. Great, that's different. I like it. Maybe this is too much and I want to simplify it and I want to take the C out and maybe do A, A, B, B. So I add, goodness, there we go. And now I have an A, A, B, B rhythm. Ta, 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 ta-di, ta, ta-di, ta. And maybe I don't like having the eighth notes at the end, so I could switch my A and my B over like this. Ta-di-ta, ta-di-ta, ta, 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 ta. So the possibilities are endless, but it gives the chance for students to explore and compose rhythms or improvise rhythms that have a lot of repetition to them and something that really works musically. Okay, now, if I have older students like 4th or 5th graders that know more complex rhythms such as takadimi, takadi, and taadimi, I can do the same thing with 1-beat cards, and then I get a 4-beat rhythm instead of an 8-beat rhythm. So let me do the rhythm or the form A, B, A, B. I'm going to do takadimi for my A, takadi for my B. So then my A has to match and my B has to match. And now I've got a 4-beat rhythm, takadimi, takadi, takadimi, takadi. But this really is the same thing as tadi, tadi, see, tadi, ta. Oh, you can't see that. There you go. Tadi, 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 ta. They're essentially the same thing. This is 4 beats, this is 8 beats. All right, so that's essentially how elemental rhythms work, but what else can you do with it besides just plain composition? One of my favorite things to do is to include it with a song that the students are learning and use it as an extension. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. Number 1, my 2nd graders learned the song Bonjour mes amis earlier this year. Bonjour mes amis, bonjour, bonjour mes amis, bonjour, bonjour mes amis, bonjour mes amis, bonjour mes amis, bonjour, bonjour mes amis. And then I showed them other ways of saying hello in different languages. Those became the elemental rhythm building blocks. So we had hola for ta ta. We had guten tag for tadi ta. Salam for ta tadi. Konnichiwa for tadi tadi, which I understand is a little challenging with the syntax. And then we had ciao for ta rest. And this was really their first exposure to using those elemental rhythm building blocks and assembling them in different orders. They had the chance to explore, try it out, move blocks around, and they came up with their own compositions. Likewise, my 3rd graders are learning a song called Built My Lady a Fine Brick House from our student teacher. Built my lady a fine brick house, built it in a garden. The roof fell in, but she jumped out. Fare thee well, my darling. So we asked the students, what rooms can we build in our fine brick house? Now, I will put a picture up here so you can see what my bulletin board looks like. But in my room, I have an elemental rhythm bulletin board that has the different rhythm building blocks on the board, as well as empty rectangles that are laminated. So as students came up with the different rooms, we could write directly on the board in real time with the rooms that they came up with. Now, every class came up with something different, but once we had it on the bulletin board, we took a picture of it and then we put it into a slideshow. And then we asked students to compose. And I couldn't remember exactly what all rooms the 2 classes chose, so I made my own. But they got a worksheet that looked somewhat like this. And it had the rhythm building blocks down below. Now, I have these set up to where I could type them in as well as just handwrite them. So if you had specific words that you wanted students to use, you could pre-type them in and have them ready to go. Or you can ask students to copy what's on the board. Now, for composing, again, students need to choose a form. So here we chose A, B, A, B. I circled a rhythm for A and I circled a rhythm for B. And then I had students put the form up above and then write the lyrics down below. And then each heart is a beat. So tadi, tadi, ta, tadi, 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 ta, tadi, 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 ta, or master bedroom, living room, master bedroom, living room. And this is a really playable rhythm. Now, if I were doing this with older students, here's an example with 1-beat elemental rhythms. So I chose the same rhythms down here, but I chose A, B, A, C for my rhythm. So I chose, that's hallway for A, I chose guest bathroom for B, and then I chose gym for C. So now I have ta-di, ta-di-mi, ta-di, ta. And I have a really well-written 4-beat rhythm. From here, you can have students play them on instruments. You can even take these over to the xylophones and have students come up with a melody or improvise their rhythm on the barred instruments. There are so many possibilities. Now, in the case of Bonjour mes amis with my second graders, I had some of their rhythms as the B or the inner portions of a rondo form. So rondo, if you don't know what that form is A, B, A, C, A, D, A. It always goes back to A. So in their performance, we sang the song, Bonjour mes amis, bonjour. We would sing through it, and then I would have some students perform the rhythms that they composed, and then we would sing the song again. And this really became a student-centered and a student-created piece that they performed in their music program. So hopefully this video was helpful to you and will inspire you to use elemental rhythms in your music room to inspire a new generation of composers and improvisers. Now, everything that I showed you is easy to make, but if you don't have time to make them, I have everything linked down below in my TPT store. I have elemental rhythm cards that all you have to do is print on cardstock and cut out and you're good to go, or you can laminate them. I have multiple versions of the worksheets and the bulletin board as well, which comes in multiple colors. So you can check those out down below. As always, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you can see when my next video comes out. And as always, happy musicking.